Hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion show. I'm Gregory Hard II, and today I'm here with my friend Jacob Rosecrants, who is the state representative in District 46, which is the West Norman area. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I mean, it's Monday and in the middle of the hottest summer that I can remember, and I'm 44, which means I gotta go sweat on people.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop what you're doing. Okay. If you like this video and you like the other content on my channel, please hit the like button on this video. Also, go hit subscribe, like right now. And also, when you hit subscribe, click the bell so you can get notifications whenever I put out a new video. So, thanks. Alright, enjoy the rest of the video.
So I would have wore my Jacob Rosecrans shirt that I got a few years ago, but I think I packed it away somewhere and wasn't able to get it that quickly. But I also
This is
have
one of my
that
older
shirt.
ones too. Like,
Yeah, that's that specific one I have. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the 2018, I think. And
Yep.
then now I've got different ones that are a little darker, but I kind of wanted the lighter color because it's freaking hot. Again, there's no getting around it, man. It is just gross. But I do feel that this is the time of the year where campaigns can be won or lost. So got to do what I
Yeah.
got to do.
Yeah. A nice hat too. I never thought about doing campaign hats, but that's a
Well,
nice
well,
one.
don't invest too much in them. I mean, that's one of the good pieces of advice I'll give you. But I
Oh,
sweat from my forehead more than anybody else I know, and so I invested in this back in 2018. How white it can be since then is a modern miracle. But I did just wash it in the dishwasher, so it was not white before that. it was like a weird brown yellow. It was disgusting, but I resurrected it. It's the same one. It's my lucky 2018 hat. So, but I only have just the one, and I won't get any more. Volunteers are always like, "Can I have one?" I was like, "No, it's for me." Or at least my campaign's not going to pay for them. If they want to donate and then get a hat, totally different thing. But I'm not going to do like one of the
Yeah.
you see like the online like shops. I'm not doing it. No, I don't
Yeah.
find the need for that. That's just weird.
Yeah. Let's see. So, what tell me about what happened this session and I think we've already talked about some of the bills you authored before whenever you came on earlier, but if you'd like to recap if you got any bills passed this session and also talk about the fight against vouchers and other crazy stuff that happened in the legislature.
Yeah, man, it was probably one of the toughest legislative sessions I've been a part of. Just from just the pure volume of absolute trash bills that came across our desks. I know it's an election year. I get it. I know the system. I know how it works. You get the crazy, I'm not going to call them crazy, but you get the kind of the Patriot Caucus who are going to author a bunch of bills that probably aren't going to pass, but they're going to be way, way far to the right. And it's just what you're going to get. And I think what they do is they must cut deals with leadership because overall, the GOP at the Capitol doesn't seem very that far right. They're very pro business. They're very pro like chamber, I would say almost. And so some of the social issues don't really jibe well with that. And that's kind of a thankful thing. Thank goodness the chamber is so strong in a weird way. I'm trying to be positive here, but it didn't seem to matter this time. They must have cut a deal for a bunch of bills. So just you saw like these abortion outlawing bills, these trigger bills, so many of them. We had 7 gun bills, even after the after constitutional carry passed. Like, how much further can you go? So we were just kind of just like, what in the world? And since there's 18 of us, there's nothing you can do to stop any of those. We can argue and we can say no, but there is some victories, and the biggest victory I can think of, and it's a temporary victory because we have to marshal our forces and go again, is against Senate Bill 1647. That's the big voucher bill. That's the very similar to a voucher bill that the Arizona legislature passed and their governor just signed. So now we have kind of like some precedent to be able to see what happens when you basically take state money and say, okay, now you can go to a private school, whatever, blah, 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 with hardly any accountability. That bill has turned out to be the most important bill of last session because it died, yes, in the Senate, but the fight for that, Gregory, I've never seen anything quite like it. I mean, it was a pro tem bill, and so there was so much push behind it. Like, he can do anything, he can take you off your committees. So there's so many things that he can add or take
And
away.
he did do that to some people.
100% he did.
Yeah.
And also he can primary you or have other people primary you. And that happened too. Pretty much anybody who voted no on that bill got a primary. And we took a look, and it's now a story, I think, on Oklahoma Watch. Over $1 million was spent by dark money private school voucher groups from Washington, D.C. and in state and out of state in these primaries to get rid of these Republicans who voted no on Senate Bill 1647. And that includes the House too, from the House members who said, no, even if that passes, we're not going to hear it. So it was actually a team effort to kill that bill, which was really kind of heartening. So I said it was a very dark session for the reasons I said before. It was a very, very, very successful season to see that there's some type of firewall against vouchers right now, and whatever that is, that we can strengthen and keep. Although we did lose some members, we lost Representative Logan Phillips, who very common sense Republican, good guy. His district got redistricted, a whole bunch of new voters, and he just couldn't keep up with it, and had $600,000 spent against him too, which is huge number for a state race. And so we're kind of waking up to the fact that, especially during election year, it's not politics as normal. It's not. But somehow, some way, Gregory, I was able to pass a bill. It took a miracle. I don't even know if we talked about it the last time we were on. It's House Bill 3286. It is called the Homicide Prevention Act. And what it does is strengthens our stalking laws. So right before this passed, really hadn't gone into effect yet, November 1st, but before it passed, we had some of the weakest stalking laws. And what happened, the idea came to me, and we might have spoken about this. I think I'd already been working on it last time I talked to you, but I may have not been. I've been working on it for a year now with a victim who's a constituent who has been stalked for 20 straight years, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop it with the current laws. They had been stalked underground. So no, they're not anywhere. You can't find them, and that's purposeful protection, trying to make sure that they're protecting themselves. I'm not even using their correct pronouns because honestly, I don't want anybody knowing it's he, she, they, whatever. I say they now. And that's crazy. That really hit me. Even though I was working on a recess requirement bill, and my own little pieces of things I was trying to do, specifically trying to empower teachers to fight back against these standardized tests, or empower parents. Bro, it took over, and really it was because the victim's very, very driven. The victim had done research already and had looked into other states, which I wish we would do a lot more often. And Wisconsin was the state that had the gold standard for stalking laws. So I started having weekly meetings online, Zoom, with the victim, a public defender from Wisconsin, and an assistant DA from Wisconsin. So a very broad group. The assistant DA who wrote the bill. And so we decided that we're just going to put a little Wisconsin and Oklahoma, and let's get the pieces going on that. I always talk about how important it is to build relationships, no matter what the person, may have think here, whatever, if we don't get along politically. So I already knew one thing that's cool is that experience is the best teacher. So who to go to for these types of issues. I did not think this was going to be my bill, Gregory. It was an election year. And I was like, there's just no way that a Democrat can get a bill passed. There's just no way. So I sold the idea off to J.J. Humphrey, who is very, very out here. Let's be honest. We all know who he is. Bigfoot guy. He's out there. But he's my friend, too. We befriended each other through our shared concern, if you want to say that, over Epic. And so, again, we found ways that we could kind of, see eye to eye. And he also is so much so himself that he's not, I don't look at him as a politician. At least I know what I have straight in front of me, right? He shoots me straight. He's just like, well, Rosecrants, oh, great. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so we kind of have a weird friendship, and I brought the idea to him, and he's like, sure, you know what? I'll show up to a couple of these meetings and I'll author the bill, and we'll, you know, you're gonna be co-author, it'll be beautiful. Well, that all happened, but he was really busy working on some criminal justice stuff, and we can only have 8 bills. So really, honestly, everything's running smoothly. And he called real quick and he was like, hey, I already have 8 bills. I need to switch this back to somebody else. And I was like, okay, what other Republican do you know that could take this? No one else. We'd already put the legwork in. There was no way. He goes, you got to take it. And I was like, it's going to die. He's like, I'll help you. And I was like, okay, but I'm telling you, this is going to be, you just made this a real uphill battle, buddy. And so it flipped back to me, like already after session started. So I had to get it, you know, on a committee. Luckily, it was his committee, so that wasn't a big deal. And also, he really did work hard on the other side trying to sell this idea. And what the bill does, now, it wasn't super popular in my caucus, and that's because it created a new felony. And I don't like creating new felonies. I think the criminal justice system needs some major help out here. I know for a fact it is a sick system right now. However, we saw in Wisconsin that they had done this. It wasn't in statute, but they put a piece in, kind of a criminal justice reform piece of sending out a stalking warning letter to whoever's been investigated and found to be stalking somebody, as kind of a warning. Hey, we are investigating you. We've seen all these things through, you know, statute. You need to stop, or you're going to get a felony. And so I fought really hard to add that and to keep that into the bill in statute, to really make it a criminal justice piece. Yes, we're throwing the book at you should you go past that letter. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that letter is more the progressive piece that I try to fight for. And it stayed in, and we got, oh my goodness, it was the rare J.J. Humphrey / Senator Bergstrom bill, Rosecrants bill. These people are very far right. We don't see eye to eye on anything. I believe that even Bergstrom is pro-voucher. But again, I met him, I talked to him, he reminded me of my dad. Nice guy, right? None of us are up there being mean, except for maybe Nathan Dahm. And that's like, you know, that's it. So he decided that he was going to go ahead and be the Senate author, and it split my Democratic caucus. But again, our numbers are so tiny that it didn't really do much. So it passed, the governor signed it, but all that was not as easy as what I'm saying. It was all encompassing, but the fight was worth it, because again, the victim and the victims that I hope to help in the future will now have another tool. And we're going to have a ceremonial signing here on August 10th. And we'll have the YWCA coming in, Jan Peary. She's amazing. She runs the women's shelter in Oklahoma City. Just an amazing human being who has been a big fan of this. And another thing, we kept it under the radar. You almost had never heard of this. And what my thinking was, everything's politics, Gregory. And so I thought, if the other side thinks that I'm trying to get a victory lap for my election, they'll kill it. So I didn't do that. I kept, you know, relying on the people that were pushing it on the other side of the aisle, kept my name out of it, even though it's me. And when it passed, then I took a victory lap. I was like, we did it. But that's a strategy that I figured works or may not. JJ told me it was going to pass no matter what, but I was like, bro, you're not leadership. You don't know. So it was a big deal. That was the one bill I got passed, but it was probably one of my biggest bills that I've ever worked on when it comes to the what it can do. So sorry that was so long. I talk a lot.
No, that's good.
My coffee.
That's good.
But yeah, so there was that. I was preoccupied with that, but it was ugly as well, bro. It was just an ugly session. You had that quick victory with the voucher, so it felt like it was going to be promising, and then just bill after bill after bill after bill of just crap, and it was just like, oh my god. Like a lot of us Democrats had that 1,000-yard stare, like just like, oh my god, another one, and then we all know, as a matter of fact, after all those attacks from the Republicans who voted no on the vouchers, it's coming back. 2023. Return of the freaking rise of the empire, whatever you want to call it. That's what's going to happen. And so we've got to prepare for that right now too. And it's going to be an interesting session. 23 is going to be crazy, but it won't be an election session, so we'll see if that changes things.
Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video.
All right. So, there was a bill passed that was about managed care in reference to Sooner Care in our Medicaid system here in Oklahoma. Could you tell me about that and what that entails and how that's going to change anything for people who receive Sooner Care?
Yeah, I can't remember the bill number. A lot of what you're going to have happen is, especially when it comes to the majority party, lobbyists, big groups are going to be working with them to try to, they put up a bill and then they change the language as the time goes on. And that's one of them. At first, that bill was not supported by people who, we look at to be supportive of these things, like the Oklahoma Hospital Association. But as it changed, they did get on board, and so I believe that passed. I don't think that the governor signed it, but I think we overruled it. I don't know now. I can't remember. Yeah.
Well, the governor did sign it. Yeah,
he did sign it. Okay, so that basically it was a coalition bill that grew and got better when it comes to administrating Medicaid. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I stay in my lane, honestly, but Marcus McIntyre was the author, I believe, and that dude is the author on just about everything when it comes to Medicaid expansion and healthcare and stuff like that. And he's become an expert. I mean, honestly, a lot of us have become expert in certain areas, and it's helpful because we know who to go to. Hey, Marcus, I need to talk to you about this. Doesn't mean that all our bills are going to be the exact same, but everybody has their 8 bills that are different. But author matters. He's not a crazy person. He is one of the ones that will work with anybody and explain everything in depth. And so when I saw that already, I was like, okay, this probably is not bad. Let's go ahead and take a look. Then Oklahoma Hospital Association got on board, and I have a lot of their constituents here. And so I was a yes on that one. And I do think it's going to help the administration and make sure that more people get the health care they deserve. So that's why we decided to go that route.
Okay. And let's see, I think last question I have here is going to be so your election, what is your how are you feeling about your campaign? How can people help you? And also, how are you feeling about that? Yeah.
Well, so this campaign season, or this, whatever you want to call it, I've been out here since 2016. I lost my first election in 2016, ran in 2017, won, ran in 2018, won, ran in 2021. So this is my 4th election since being elected. So I'm not going to say it's like put on the hat and just go back to work, but it's very similar to that. And I really never take it off because, again, it's a 60-40% Republican district. However, redistricting it helped us. Sherry Conley, who has the House District 20 down south, needed to grow. I needed to shrink because we're in a suburban area that grew. And so Noble was given to her, and I had to then expand because it was a full city. And that doesn't necessarily hurt my chances. I worked hard out there, Gregory. I did my best. Showed up to every event, met so many great people. I actually love Noble. But when it comes to people that vote for me, it was not a strong place. I did 8 points better than Biden in 2020, and still it didn't make a difference out there. So losing Noble does help my chances when it comes to just the registered numbers, because I had to grow. And if you grow inside Norman, there's only certain places to grow to pick up a precinct or here or there. And that's the center. And so when you move center to Norman, it's going to be bluer no matter how you look at it, no matter how you break it down. That's just geography. The center is the university. So I picked up a big precinct from Emily Virgin, which helps. Now I've got a dominant Democrat district or precinct in my district, which that's great. That helps. It pushes us closer to truly balance, which is something I always talk about. So I'm pretty hopeful because balance is my thing. And because I have a purple district now, and really have for a while, because the voters have seen fit to elect me in a red district that has been turning purple, then that's a good thing. So I feel pretty confident. I know it's going to be tough. This is probably my toughest election since I was elected. I would say my toughest election since 2018. I'd say that was a very tough one too. It was against Brian Vineyard. He was a very well-known, affluent guy who had lots of help from like the whole entire chamber. That was tough. And my opponent this year, she seems to be kind of that same mold. She believes in working hard. I respect her hard work ethic. She's doing the right things. She's going to trainings and things like that. She hasn't just been picked, I think, to run. I think she truly wants to run. And because of that makes her a very, formidable opponent. So I'm putting all I can to this election. Number one, because I want to stay in there, because I look at myself as less of a politician, but more of a representative. And right now I believe, especially on the other side, that they're looking at themselves as kind of like microphones for some of the further right ideas. And I just don't think that's representing all people. We see it with this local city councilman named Kelly Lynn, who is part of this group that supports my opponent. And the hate is out there. It's outward. It's not like silent, but my opponent stays silent on purpose, I believe. Well, that's fine. She can do that. No big deal. I get it. But the problem is that's not what the majority of this district wants. That I just don't see it that way. And I've been on doors since 2016. So my hope is that people see common sense and will come out to vote for me, because I'm gonna stand for that. So can't just hope though. So you got to put the work in, and I'm putting the work in. Has not been easy. And I'll continue to put the work in all the way until November 8th. And whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So iron sharpens iron, whatever you want to say. It's just the same old thing, really, honestly. I always prepare for a well-funded Republican man or woman to run against me, because that's just what happens every time. So here we are. Yeah. This was a little different though, too, Gregory. There was a crazy primary before this point. There was the co-founder of Unite Norman, and then my opponent also is a co-founder of Unite Norman, but split off. So there was two fighting factions. And then my 2020 opponent, who almost beat me, I only lost by 79 votes, was in that one too. And this Kendra woman beat them both. And so that shows you that she's got some sway. And so, yeah, we're not taking this one easy. This one looks like it's going to be a tough battle till the end. Oh, how can people help me?
Yes.
I don't mean to be big time these days, but I mean, honestly, you can go to my Twitter, you can go to my Instagram, you can Google me. We've been out here so long doing the same thing that, just you'll find the links, and there it is. Plus you can add a link on here if you see this on Twitter or whatever else on my online deal. We're raising money really well that way. Of course, you can mail in a check too. We hardly get those anymore. It's funny how technology has changed. But that, and also if you're in the Norman area, we have had a bunch of people come together with some of the hate, some of the out loud hate. People have come together to fight against that. from around even the cities and stuff like that, other like Oklahoma City and maybe like some down south cities have come together to try to push back against that, not just for me, but also for my friend Annie Menz, who's running in House District 45. And that's a big deal because that was a former seat held by Marilyn Bell, and she didn't seek re-election. It was kind of a last minute thing. So we've been out there working real hard trying to get Annie's name out there too. And she has a very formidable opponent as well. I met her. Her name's Teresa Sterling. Very, very, very nice woman. And she's going to be tough. So we have a tough battle on our hands out here, but that's how y'all can help. And don't forget to help Gregory out there in Shawnee, guys. He has been fighting the good fight out there for a while. I've known Gregory for years now and seen him grow. And so I'm just letting you know now I'm talking to you through this show to you. Just real proud of you, and just keep going, man. You've got the right idea. Just keep going. That's all you can do.
Thank you for that. That means a lot. I have really enjoyed getting to see you run, because the first time there's a picture out there of you and me after I had knocked doors for you in 2016. I think it was like that Sunday before the election, something like that.
Yep.
And then I remember knocking doors for you in your special election in 2017, and
yep,
you flipped the results. It was 40-60 in 2016, and then it was 60-40 whenever you won in 2017. I tell people about that story a lot whenever people ask me, like, oh, you're in a red district, what makes you think you could possibly win or whatnot. I said, well, I could run again if I don't do as well, which I feel like this time around, I feel like I might do well even if I don't win. And then look what happened with Jacob. He really put in the work 2 times in a row and then won, and then again in 2018, and there you go. Like, you're one of the people that I point to whenever I talk about hope for my race and my situation, and so that means a lot to have you say that. And I hope you get reelected, and I hope I get elected, and we can author some bills together about, I don't know, education.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, hey, thanks for having me on the show, though, again. And just knock doors, get your name out there. It's the best thing you can do. Beyond that, it's just all up in the air, honestly. Remember, not everything's under your control. So don't let that, a lot of people try to control things they can't. And that's what you can't do. Control things you can control. That means you and how hard you work. That's about it. So